to the Twitter exchange over the weekend that may be what's knocking $4,000 off Bitcoin's high of $58,332 hit just yesterday. Gold bug and crypto skeptic Peter Schiff taunting Bitcoin believer Elon Musk. Schiff quoted Musk, who, despite investing in Bitcoin on behalf of Tesla, has said Bitcoin is almost, quote, as BS as fiat or government-issued currency. Schiff then tweeted, "Gold is better than Bitcoin and fiat currency." Musk responded, quote, "An email saying you have gold is not the same as having gold. You might as well have crypto." Well, an hour later, Musk caught the world's attention with this follow-up post, quote, "That said, BTC, Bitcoin, and ETH, Ethereum, do seem high. LOL." To the man who started the tweet for Tat with Musk in a Fox Business exclusive, Euro-Pacific Capitals, Peter Schiff joins us. But Peter, you don't get a free ride. We're bringing in crypto bull and block ETF portfolio manager Michael Venuto, whose fund just surpassed $1.3 billion in assets. All right. So this weekend, you started disagreeing with Musk's position, I think Friday, and then by the end, how surprised were you when he replied?
Well, I think this is the first time he's replied. I've mentioned him in several tweets, over the months. But yeah, he replied in the middle of the night, so I didn't know until I woke up Saturday morning, because I got several emails and texts that said, "Hey, Musk replied to your tweet," and so it was nice that he replied. People should read my replies because they're very enlightening to his reply.
Well, you're basically saying, and you have been a real bear on Bitcoin. We've done our podcast with you. You've articulated this, but Peter, it is a force right now. Why are you still so against what could be the next big thing as an emerging currency?
It's not an emerging currency. It's a bubble, and it's certainly gotten very large. Look, Elon Musk may be a brilliant engineer, and he may have more money than all of us, but his understanding of money is actually flawed. Bitcoin is not money. Initially, it was intended to be a digital fiat currency, except it didn't really work well as a medium of exchange. So they kind of reinvented it as a store of value, kind of like a digital version of gold, except Bitcoin doesn't have any of gold's value as a metal. And so if it doesn't have any value, it can't be a store of value. All Bitcoin is a digital token. Now, you have people who are collecting Bitcoin, you have people who are trading it, but at the end of the day, when the music stops playing, I don't think a Bitcoin collection is going to have much value. Beanie Babies, at least they were fuzzy, cuddly, and fluffy, but Bitcoin is nothing.
Well, Michael, you get to jump in here. Your ETF has seen quite the jump, more than a couple of hundred percentage points, and you've just surpassed more than $1 billion. So, well, how do you answer Peter on that?
So I love the Beanie Baby approach, but I'm much more interested in the underlying technology behind it. But in the beginning, in order for a network to get people interested, you need a meme, and the price is the meme. And I think that's what Elon was capitulating on, right? That the price has moved around so much that it's gotten people excited, but maybe a little too excited from time to time. But the real adoption that's happening right now.
Your call, just so people know, is that it will hit 250,000 per coin within the next 3 years, 100,000 this month alone. What will get it there, in your opinion, Michael?
Sure. I'm going to spread that out to 100K over the year, but what's getting it there is the institutional adoption. They're all going in, right? So there's over $2.5 trillion in cash on the balance sheets of S&P 500 companies. Do you think they're buying gold? I think that they're getting Saylorized, right? They're sitting down with Michael Saylor and hearing the story. I mean, Peter, I know we joke about it, but they're not buying gold. They're buying Bitcoin.
No, but they're not really buying Bitcoin either. I mean, first of all, yes, Tesla bought Bitcoin. About 2 weeks ago, they announced it. And the stock is almost in a bear market now. It's when I last checked, it was down 19% from its high. So investors in Tesla are not necessarily happy that Tesla has bought Bitcoin, despite the fact that it has a paper profit. Whether it can actually realize that profit and unload all those Bitcoin, that remains to be seen. But I don't think you're going to have a lot of institutions gambling on Bitcoin.
I don't think it's gambling.
The whole point about gold, hold on, Michael, the whole point about gold, The whole point, but hold on, guys. The whole point about a comparison between Bitcoin and gold is that both are so-called finite. However, Michael, how do you continue when you're looking at it as a different? What's the difference between printing more fiat currency or government-issued currency compared to subdividing a finite amount of Bitcoin into smaller and smaller denominations to create more? How does that really mean that, that it's valuable?
So I've heard this argument, the individual blocks versus the Satoshis. It's really the amount of code, right? The amount of code that can be a toll road to the Internet 2.0. The only thing that blockchain and the technology that Bitcoin is utilizing really is the ability to make something unique in the digital world without having SolarWinds or Robinhood or any of the other groups that I heard earlier in the show, Liz, people be concerned about. The current case that most people are worried about is governments, right? There's a distrust of governments, and they want them out of their money.
Right.
Well,
Peter, quickly, your final thought, and has Elon responded to your request to do a Clubhouse discussion?
Not yet. Maybe you can try to cajole them into that. But look, the main problem with Bitcoin, it doesn't even matter how many there are if they're not worth anything. I mean, ultimately, they have a market price. And Liz, you're friendly with Warren Buffett. He's always said price is what you pay, but value is what you get. And when you pay $50,000 to get one Bitcoin, you get no value. And eventually, the price is going to equal the market value.
Wow.
The same thing ultimately happens with fiat currencies. They decline to their intrinsic value. Bitcoin is like fiat in that all of its value is based on faith. Gold is real. It's the most useful metal in the world, and it derives its value from its metallic properties. The fact that it's scarce is the reason that it's expensive, but its value comes from the metal.
Both of you guys, you're coming back. I definitely want you back, like within a couple of weeks, because something tells me that this story is going to only get bigger, not smaller. Peter, Mike, great to have you. Claimant Countdown's coming right back.